The story of Bilal ibn Rabah, may Allah be pleased with him, a journey from chains to freedom. In the scorching heat of pre-Islamic Makkah, a tale of extraordinary resilience was about to unfold. The story of Bilal ibn Rabah, a man whose journey from enslaved person to one of Islam's most revered figures continues to inspire millions. Born into slavery in Makkah around 580 CE, Bilal was the son of an enslaved mother named Hamama. His master was Umayyah ibn Khalaf, a prominent leader of the Quraysh tribe, known for his fierce opposition to Islam and his cruel treatment of slaves. Despite his circumstances, Bilal possessed an inner strength that would later become legendary. When news of Prophet Muhammad's message began spreading through Makkah, Bilal was among the earliest converts to Islam. His acceptance of the faith marked the beginning of his greatest trials. Upon discovering Bilal's conversion, Umayyah was enraged. In an attempt to force Bilal to renounce his new faith, he subjected him to unimaginable tortures. The most infamous of these tortures took place in the burning desert. Umayyah would have Bilal laid on his back on the scorching sand during the hottest part of the day, with a heavy stone placed on his chest to prevent him from moving. Yet, instead of renouncing his faith, he would repeatedly declare Ahadun Ahad, 1-1, affirming his belief in the oneness of Allah. This daily torture continued until Abu Bakr, the Prophet's closest companion, learned of Bilal's suffering. Moved by Bilal's unwavering faith, Abu Bakr negotiated with Umayyah and purchased Bilal's freedom for a substantial sum. The moment of his emancipation marked a turning point not just in Bilal's life, but in Islamic history. Following his freedom, Bilal became one of Prophet Muhammad's most trusted companions. His most significant honor came when Islam was establishing its first community in Medina. The Prophet needed someone to call the believers to prayer 5 times a day. He chose Bilal, blessed with a powerful and beautiful voice, to become Islam's first muezzin, caller to prayer. The selection of a former slave, a black man, for this honorable position was revolutionary for a society deeply entrenched in tribal and racial hierarchies. Bilal would climb to the highest point near the mosque and call out the adhan, his voice echoing through the streets of Medina, reminding everyone that in Islam, piety, not race, wealth, or social status, was the measure of a person's worth. Perhaps the most powerful moment in Bilal's story came during the conquest of Makkah in 630 CE. Prophet Muhammad entered the city peacefully and headed straight to the Kaaba. There, he ordered all the idols to be removed and called for Bilal to ascend to the top of the Kaaba. The former slave's voice rang out over the city, marking the end of idolatry and the triumph of monotheism. After the Prophet's death, Bilal's grief was so intense that he stopped giving the regular adhan in Medina. He only called it twice more in his life, once at the request of the Prophet's grandsons and once when he visited Damascus. He spent his final years in Damascus, where he died around 640 CE, respected and honored by the Muslim community. The legacy of Bilal ibn Rabah extends far beyond his role as the first muezzin. His story represents the Islamic ideals of racial equality, the triumph of faith over adversity, and the complete transformation of society. From an enslaved person, tortured for his beliefs, to one of the most respected figures in Islamic history, Bilal's journey embodies hope and the power of unwavering faith. Today, nearly 1,400 years later, when the call to prayer rings out from mosques around the world, it follows the tradition first established by Bilal. His name continues to be given to children across the Muslim world, and his story is taught as a shining example of how faith, courage, and perseverance can overcome even the most challenging circumstances. The story of Bilal ibn Rabah remains a powerful reminder that true freedom lies not in physical liberation alone, but in the strength of one's convictions and the courage to stand by them regardless of the consequences.